Hey there, my brownies, Brownie Blog number 73 right here, and as temperatures continue to drop in Canada, so is the play of many Canadian hockey teams, with the worst lately coming from the Toronto Maple Leafs, except for the Edmonton Oilers, because the Edmonton Oilers suck all season. However, the Toronto Maple Leafs have sucked the worst lately, having lost their past 6 games, and are only 3-7 in their past 10, which is just not good enough as they continue to fall out of a playoff spot, which they thought to be secure 30 games ago. And so, as they fall out, it's really come down to poor goaltending, poor defense, but honestly, even worse fans. After another poor performance from number one goaltender turned backup James Reimer, many fans began to criticize the once savior of Toronto. Ever since Jonathan Bernier went down in the first period of a 3-2 victory in LA, James Reimer's just not been able to fill the hole left by Jonathan Bernier. I partially credit his poor play to the lack of playing time he had received from Coach Randy Carlyle, but honestly, it's James's job to stop the puck, and he just has not, which makes it even more confusing on why fans began to criticize his wife, April Reimer. Many hateful tweets were directed at April, many of them telling her to inform her husband of how much he sucked and how bad he was to the city and how horrible he was. They're talking about the same goaltender that they were praising for getting them to the playoffs last year. And so it just goes to show you the lack of dedication a lot of Leafs fans have for individual players, especially goaltenders. They've seen many good goaltenders in Toronto, from Curtis Joseph to Ed Belfour, but honestly, they've never stuck through thick and thin with a goalie, or any player for that matter, but mainly goalies, because in Toronto, a goalie can be a hero one day, and the next he's worse than the devil. But many teammates of Reimer refused to let him carry the blame. Nazem Kadri and Dion Phaneuf both came to James' defense very quickly. Kadri was quick to say how James is a good goaltender, and he has the ability to be consistent, and that it's not his fault for all their losses. However, Coach Randy Carlyle had a much different thing to say. He described Reimer's play as just okay, which I don't know about you, but if you want a player to do well, you don't insult him. And so, I don't really see why Carlyle is getting down on James Reimer so much. Both James Reimer and Jonathan Bernier were supposed to share the net at the beginning of the season, but as soon as James faltered the slightest, Jonathan Bernier was handed the full workload, which is just not a good thing, because Jonathan Bernier, yes, he did play well, but it came down to the fact when Jonathan Bernier got hurt, James was not able to play up to his standards because he was not being able to play at all. And so I really question Carlyle's abilities to choose who should play in net. Honestly, you should go with the hot hand, but at a point, you need to put James in the net. And honestly, James was not getting any starts, he wasn't getting any playing time, and it's not really James's fault when it comes down to it, because when you're facing 40 shots a night, and your goalie's stopping 35 of them, 35 saves is a lot more than many goalies see all night. And so it's really come down to the possession stats of the Toronto Maple Leafs that have been their downfall, as they have only been able to control 40% of the time when they have the puck. And so it's just not a good thing. Many of the underlying statistics say that Toronto is not a good team, however they just seem to win. And many of those wins have come from the shootout, having gone 9-4 in the shootout, which is a very criticized form of breaking a tie, as it's honestly just a flip of the coin, because any team can win a shootout. Whether you are the Buffalo Sabres or you're the Anaheim Ducks, any team can win the shootout. And so, honestly, that's why they're considering taking it completely out of the game. But for the rest of this season, it's still here, and it's honestly the thing that's been keeping the Toronto Maple Leafs afloat, as they have the 4th best winning percentage in the shootout, and they have the most wins individually in the shootout themselves, having won 9 games. That's 9 full points they've won, and 4 points they've lost by just going to the skills competition of the game, which, honestly, I don't think shootout should be the answer. I think that adding more time to overtime, or possibly making it 3-on-3, would very much so make it a better hockey game, as it would come down to who's the better team, and not who has the better shooters. And so, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys keep watching hockey, keep watching the Brownie Blog. Send me some questions. Haven't got too many yet, so send me some questions for the Brownie Bits. Remember, you can win $25 from iTunes if you can send me a question and get it on the show. So check out Brownie Bits, and just keep watching hockey. Hopefully the Toronto Maple Leafs can start winning. But anyway, see you guys later. Goodbye.